Hello everybody, my name's Elizabeth O'Mara. I'm going to talk to you today about employability with a UK degree. First of all, I just wondered if anyone listening had ever been to the UK. If you can just let me know within the chat box. Let me see if I can see on the poll. Okay, 2 people haven't been. Anybody been to the UK? That's fine. I was going to ask if you've been to the UK, which bit you'd actually been to. So I'm from the University of Worcester. Most people, when they've been to the UK, they go to London, which is obviously our capital city, sometimes to Oxford, sometimes to Birmingham. I'm from Worcester, which is in the middle of England. So it's only 40 minutes from Birmingham. It's about 2.5 hours from London. So it's in the Midlands of the UK. So today I'm going to talk about employability with a UK degree. I'm firstly going to talk about why the UK, why come to the UK to study, going through a few employability facts and figures, and also the benefits of your student experience itself. Going through the course content, the classroom experience and how it's different from other countries, and also the placement and internship opportunities you might get. I'm then going to talk briefly about the elephant in the room, which is obviously coronavirus, which is something that's obviously tragically affected the world, and how I think it might affect the job market and employability. Talk a bit about student views, how we're preparing our students at the University of Worcester for the global job market. Talking a bit about the University of Worcester, and also then a chance to ask any questions. But if you do have any questions throughout the presentation, please just interrupt me. I like questions, so please ask them. I thought I'd start off with a poll. I think you can see the poll on the platform. I just would like to know what subject you're interested in studying. I don't know if you can see the poll on the chat and choose which subject you're interested in studying. If you're not interested in any of those, if you're interested in something else, then just pop it into the chat box. And then I'll try and talk a bit more about the subjects that people are interested in. Okay, 1 student for biology, that's great. Can't actually see any result of the poll so far.
I can tell you the results.
Oh, yes, far. Please, yes. Yeah.
Okay, so 8% says health related.
Okay.
42% is engineering.
Right.
33% arts and humanities.
Okay.
And 15% education.
Okay, and no one for business?
Yeah, no one for nutrition, sports, psychology, or business yet.
Okay, that's interesting. I do have a few slides about business, but I'll adapt them for some other subjects as well, and try and talk a bit more about the ones that you're interested in. Okay, so why study in the UK? So a few employability facts and figures. Students who have studied abroad are actually 20% less likely to be out of work because of the skills that they gain through the experience. On average, students who have studied abroad actually earn a 7% higher salary than students who haven't studied abroad. So obviously studying abroad is a good thing for your future career prospects. In terms of the UK specifically, we do have a highly regarded reputation for teaching and research internationally. If you look at the QS rankings, we actually have 4 UK universities in the global top 10, which for such a small country really is quite a high figure. We've also recently opened up some post-study work visa opportunities. So once students graduate, they actually get a couple of years to gain that work experience immediately after graduating, so you can consolidate the skills that you've learnt during your studies. Here's a picture of our law cohort graduating. Why the UK? The benefits of your actual student experience itself. Firstly, improving your English. Obviously, if you're in an English study environment, you're using those language skills every single day. At Worcester, where I'm from, University of Worcester, which is not pronounced Worcester or Worcester. I know it looks a bit weird, but it's actually Worcester. At Worcester, we have been called the birthplace of standard English because we don't really have a big accent. There's no sort of regional dialect. It's a very easy to understand English. And obviously, if you're using that day in, day out, you're improving your English and improving the language that is really used in global business. And there's an opportunity to make friends from all over the world. Most UK universities will have a very diverse student body. So you'll make friends from people in Europe, people in America, and it's one of the real benefits to going to university, the fact that you can keep these friends throughout your entire life, you know, go to their home countries and see the different cultures. There's excellent extracurricular activities which can enhance your CV. So in the UK, every university will have a students' union, and that students' union will have lots of different activities. So different clubs, different societies. Some of them can not enhance your CV at all. There can be clubs like the Harry Potter Club, which probably doesn't enhance your CV, but is, you know, fun for the students involved. Or you can have extracurricular activities like at Worcester, we have a club called the Bright Futures Society, and they organise events. So local businesses are invited to come and talk to those students, and they organise kind of tips on global careers and that kind of thing. Part-time work as well, like in Worcester, we have a range of part-time work, as do most places in the UK. So in normal times, students often work in cafes and bars and restaurants. Although this isn't maybe directly related to the career the students actually end up doing or want to pursue, it's still valuable work experience because you're, again, practicing your English, and you're not practicing to academics or your fellow students. You're actually practicing it to a wide range of local people from different areas, and you build confidence. With all of these, you boost your confidence and you gain your networking opportunities. So you're making networks for life, really. And this is from the Worcester Bright Futures Facebook page. So you can see that you know, they invite graduate employers to fairs. There are business startup fairs. A lot of our students have actually started their own businesses after graduating, which is great to see. It's not just about business. I know we had lots of people interested in other subjects. So one I saw yesterday when I was looking at the Facebook page was actually for creative writing. So they invited some local artists, some local writers. So it's from different subjects. It's certainly not just business related, but it's how to use the skills that you're interested in to be successful. I'm just going to check the platform to see if I can see any questions, because I know some of you might have had questions by now. Okay, yep, not any questions so far, but I'll keep checking just in case there's any questions as I go along. This is one job that our students quite like doing, which is a student ambassador. So a student ambassador is a job representing the university, whether it's doing airport pickups, campus tours, lots of different things, open days for the university. And again, it's a really good chance to meet people, to make friends, and to bond with other students, and also to meet prospective students and kind of try and talk to those students and see if they're right for the university. In terms of course content, the course content itself is very well designed in order to help you pursue your future careers. In the UK itself, there's a wide range of courses from accounting to zoology. I just picked those two because it was A to Z, obviously. But there are lots of different courses. All of the ones that you've mentioned in the chat, whether that's, you know, someone mentioned biology, there were people mentioning various subjects, arts and humanities in the poll as well. A lot of you mentioned engineering. There are a lot of UK universities that would offer these subjects. At the University of Worcester, which is quite similar to some other universities as well, each student has an academic and personal tutor who has their own research and industry background. So you're gaining their contacts as well. For example, you could have a creative arts lecturer who's worked in television previously. So all of their connections that they've made through their own career, their own film and TV work, then become your connections, and they'll make those introductions for you. There's a high level of teaching quality in the UK. At the University of Worcester, we started as a teacher training college, actually, so we do pride ourselves on this. We're actually 6th in the UK for teaching quality this year, which we're very pleased about. In terms of the classroom experience, it's quite different from some countries. In some countries, it's sort of rows of students listening in a giant lecture hall, listening to the lecturer present on a big screen. It's not quite that way at our university or universities generally in the UK. At the University of Worcester, we have smaller class sizes. So we have quite round tables, and the students do a lot of group work, they do lots of teamwork. The lecturer certainly isn't just speaking and people are writing down notes. We have some lecture theatres, but I imagine in the current situation, those will probably be phasing out anyway. It's really student-centred. It's a student-focused approach. We also encourage things like critical thinking and analytical thinking. Our lecturers don't just like to talk on and on and on. They like people to ask questions, they like people to interact, and they like students to criticize their thinking and to come up with their own opinion. So that's really teaching critical thinking skills. In terms of placements and internships, all of our courses are vocationally relevant, which means we try and create course content, which means that it prepares you for the job market. It's not just theoretical, it's not just academic, it's really teaching you how to succeed in your job. We also build partnerships and links, so it doesn't matter which subject you do with us. If it's education, we have really strong partnerships with local schools, local nurseries. If it's health, I know a number of you were interested in the health-related subjects. So we have very, very close links with local care homes, local hospices and local hospitals. Currently, at the moment, some of our nursing students and our lecturers have actually been working with the coronavirus pandemic, and they've been making great contributions to the health of the population, which is amazing, really. And also we have connections with local businesses and local sports clubs. Work placement opportunities, a lot of our courses, whether that's nursing, education, business, a lot of them would have work placement opportunities, so you get that real work experience. As an example course, BA Honours Marketing, Advertising and PR, I know that's a business course. In the 2019 National Student Survey, this course received a 100% satisfaction rating from students, which is pretty incredible. This is one of the courses which does have an optional third-year placement and close connections with local businesses, jobs fairs on campus. There's also support given by our staff with CV guidance, interview preparation to help secure your placement of choice. So with these jobs, whether it's a placement or an internship, they're real jobs. They're not fake jobs. They're not jobs that are just given to you as part of your course. You actually have to secure that job. So you have to go through the entire process to try and secure that job. And we give you the support to help you realize that dream. For example, with our university, the course is £12,700 per year, and there are scholarships of up to £3,000, and those are also available per year. They're automatically given when you apply. And the example course, this is one of our students who actually studied this course, and she's now working in a marketing company in London. And she said, completing my undergraduate degree at the University of Worcester prepared me for a successful career in marketing. This was especially through focusing on practical tasks and real case studies, working in diverse study groups and combining theory with practice during my studies. And she also completed a one-year work placement in my field, that was actually in our office, which helped me to gain valuable skills, get a one-year full-time experience on my CV, and also helped me realize what future career I wanted to pursue. I did have a video here. Unfortunately, when we did the test, for some reason, there was not any audio to the video. I'm going to share that in the chat screen in a minute. Yeah, so unfortunately, there wasn't any audio, but this was a video about our undergraduate work placement. So if you're interested, I will put that into the chat and you can find out a bit more about it. And second example course, MBA with internship. So there's a 6-month internship for this course, which is built into the course. We do have January start dates available. And then again, the same support is given with CVs and interviews to help you secure your internship of choice. We do have the close connections with local businesses and jobs fairs on campus. There's no prior work experience needed for our MBA. And there's also the option of gaining the CMI Level 7 Certificate in Strategic Management. So there's that bonus on top of it. And the teaching satisfaction and the course satisfaction, as you can see, is above the national average. And the course, the fee for this course, it's the same for all of our master's courses. So if you're interested in, say, public health or master's in nutrition, then it's, well, the public health is the same price as this, which is £13,700, and there are up to £3,000 scholarships available. I'm just going to check if there are any questions before I go on to our student views. Let me just check. Okay. Interesting, lots of questions. That's good. I'm just going to go through them. SAT required. SAT isn't required for universities in the UK. That's an American qualification. I'm going to put my contact details at the end of the slide. If you do have any questions, if you want me to check your qualifications, then just send me an email and I'm happy to check. We do have Turkish entry requirements, which I'm going to go through later on as well. How much chance to do a master's degree in folklore? Oh, that's very interesting. I'm personally very interested in folklore. We don't have a degree in folklore at the University of Worcester, but I actually would recommend that you do a Google search. As I said, there are so many different degrees in the UK and so many different niche options. I don't know offhand any universities that do that, but it's certainly worth having a Google search. In terms of folklore, you might be able to find some related subject. So it might be that it's something to do with cultural heritage, or potentially something along the lines of oral histories, that kind of thing. I think you would be able to find a related subject if you do some research. Do students have time to work part-time at cafes? That's a really, really good question. Technically, under a Tier 4 visa, usually students have 20 hours per week on their visa. Do check your visa once you receive it, but you have those hours to work part-time at cafes. We recommend you do slightly less, to be honest, in order to allow you to focus on your studies as well. But certainly, I would say probably most of our students do part-time work at cafes. It is easy to kind of balance, or at least if you're organized, it's possible to balance the part-time work and your studying. Engineering department. I'm afraid we don't actually have an engineering department. So unfortunately, obviously we don't have a ranking for our engineering department. So I would suggest that you use something like the rankings. Times Higher have a good ranking, so do QS, and you'll be able to look at the ranking in that. So you'll be able to look at which universities are ranked highest for engineering and you know, have a look at that and get in touch with any of the people at those universities. Okay, I am going to get a presentation. Just a few student views. So these are some of the subjects that we do offer. So I know some of you were interested in education. So this is Sevda, who is a current Turkish student. And she was working as an HR executive for 10 years in Turkey and decided to change careers into coaching, sort of education coaching. That's why she preferred to be on a master's program to find out information about coaching in detail. This course enhanced her performance and knowledge in the coaching field. Studying in the University of Worcester is a great chance for her because there are knowledgeable professionals who gave us new and valuable insights about education and coaching. This experience is such a success story for me to realize my aim in Turkey. There are many coaches, however, they don't have a master's degree in coaching. So she feels it's taken her one step further in going forward into the job market. And she's studying our MA Education Mentoring and Coaching course. This is Kong, who studied BA Honours Screenwriting and Illustration. I know we had a few interested in the creative arts. So he said he came in confused and lost, but he graduated with a really clear focus on what he wanted to do. On the course, he had the opportunity to take part in many student as well as local independent film projects. And he's now been working in the UK as a freelance artist in the film and video industry for a few years. And it was the initial connections I made in those projects that led me to many more connections and opportunities. And a few more. This is MSc Business Psychology. If any of you are more interested into the psychology side of things. One student, Yen Ho, she said, our teachers were experts and taught us many things and put us into real life work situations. And I think that that has had a great benefit to my future career. Laurel, she says, the course arrangement covers both theoretical and practical aspects. You have many chances to join different training that's related to your future potential job, like psychometric testing, which is very interesting. And she'd found a good job before she even left the UK. And finally, Locke, who did international management with an internship in our media lab, actually, he said he felt that he needed to study abroad if he wanted to have an international career and believes he can apply what he's learned into his workplace. Locke is currently working for a media marketing company in the UK. Laurel, she returned back to Shanghai, where she was from, and she's studying at Michael Page, which is an international recruitment company. And this is Sally, who he studied with us quite a few years ago now. He studied MSc International Marketing Management at Worcester Business School, and he now works at Türk Telekom, Turkey's leading communications provider. I'm sure you know more about Türk Telekom than I do. And he says he has great memories of Worcester and tries to visit every year. Okay, let me just check if I've got any questions before I go on to talking about the next subject. Okay. And the fees for bachelor similar to masters. So the fees for the bachelor are for 2020 entry, they're £12,700 and masters are £13,700. And for both of them, there's the when you apply, you're automatically given, well, not necessarily given, you're automatically considered for a scholarship, and the scholarships would be up to £3,000, and those are depending on your grades at undergraduate level or at foundation level. I will go into that in a later slide in more detail. If someone wants to work in the area of civil engineering. Yeah, again, unfortunately, we don't do engineering, so I would recommend you speak to another university who does engineering. There are lots in the UK, lots of universities do civil engineering. Sorry, I just saw another question pop up. And yeah, so I'd suggest you do that research. Okay, yeah, Cambridge, there's a question here about Cambridge or Imperial College if they require you to take SAT. So it may well be that some of those universities, they will have different entry requirements. I will talk about the University of Worcester entry requirements further down the slide. Obviously, other universities will have different entry requirements. And you're an EU citizen, okay. For EU, yeah, it's EU students do apply on UCAS. I've got my contact details actually in the final slide. So if you can email me, then I will get back to you in terms of the step-by-step application process. Okay, so the elephant in the room, which is obviously very sadly coronavirus. Some of you might be thinking, what's the point of talking about studying in the UK when we're not quite sure what the situation is? And I thought rather than ignoring that, I'll just try and address it up front. Obviously, it's a highly unpredictable situation globally and nobody really knows what's going to happen. But as far as we know right now, in terms of the United Kingdom, we are past the peak. So the peak was, I believe, the 8th of April, and it's the cases of coronavirus have now consistently gone down. Today, the Prime Minister has said that they are the same as they were before we locked down. So they've gone down to pre-lockdown levels, which is obviously great. The alert status has changed from 4, which was in the high risk thing. It's changed down to 3. So it's obviously going down the right track. The schools and nurseries have partially reopened. They reopened on the 1st of June. My son, you might hear him in a minute when he wakes up, but he is normally at nursery and he is back at nursery now part-time. So obviously people are starting to make these slow movements back to a normal society. Shops reopened last week, so non-essential businesses have reopened, and the Prime Minister has literally just made an announcement today saying that pubs and restaurants are opening from the 4th of July with social distancing measures. Obviously, I'm sure, as you know, in the UK, our pub culture is very important to us. It's part of our tradition. So I imagine many people are very happy about this. He's also reduced the social distancing measures. Previously, people had to stay 2 meters apart, and it's now down to 1 meter plus, so just over 1 meter. So obviously this is all positive, and we hope that it remains positive. The safety of our students is paramount. That will be the case for any university, I'm sure. The University of Worcester is currently planning on teaching from September. So the thing about teaching from September face-to-face, obviously if the situation changes, we will adapt. The safety of our students is our #1 concern, and we will support our students whatever happens. The downturn in the economy is obviously, I think, going to happen. The majority of countries throughout the world are going to have, they're not going to have any growth this year, but there are potential opportunities there to upskill and retrain. There are some industries, for example, which potentially will, for example, wholesale and retail, those people might not need as many people in the future, unfortunately. So there are opportunities to retrain into other areas. We've actually noticed this trend, and other universities have as well, which is that our current students, students currently studying undergraduate degrees with us, many of them are staying on to master's study in order to give them more skills, because the job market is going to be more competitive. There's going to be far more competition in the workplace. So the more skills you have, the better. Gaining that work experience, which is offered with the placements and with the internships, is also going to give you an edge in that job market. So there are potential opportunities to the situation as well. And I'm going to briefly introduce our university, which is the University of Worcester. So I'm not from Worcester originally. I originally come from a different part of the UK. I've been an international student myself. I've studied in 2 different countries, in China and in Italy, not in Turkey, sadly. I would have loved to. But our university in Worcester is where I've settled down. And it's a really nice place to settle. It's very peaceful, calm, quiet. It's a traditional British city that I'm very pleased to live in. This is our library. It was opened by the Queen of England, who's like me, called Elizabeth. It was opened in 2012. The unique thing about the Hive is that it's jointly owned by both the city and by the university. So you get people from the city and from the university using it, which is a very unique atmosphere. It's a real community atmosphere. I love going to the Hive. I actually miss it quite a lot because at the moment, as you can probably see, we're still working from home. This is the Malvern Hills. So this is only 15 minutes from Worcester. This is right near my hometown. In lockdown, I've actually been able to see the Malvern Hills every day. One good thing about Worcestershire is actually we're not a city, although we're a traditional city, we're not a big sort of urban environment. And it's actually quite easy to socially distance. As you can see, there's lots of nature. There are lots of places where you can potentially go for a walk and potentially be quite far away from other people if you wanted to, really, as well as being a very beautiful area. Worcester is consistently rated in the top 10 places to live in the UK. When they do the Right Move surveys that they do annually about happiest places and safest places, Worcester is pretty much always in the top 10 of those surveys. We're a historic cathedral city, so that building on the left has been around a very long time, at least since Norman times. This is actually the building where you would have your graduation ceremony if you study with us. It's a lovely place to graduate. We're also home of the world famous Worcestershire sauce. I don't know if anyone listening has ever tried Worcestershire sauce. I'm not hearing any pings, so I think that means probably no one's tried it. Next time I come to Turkey, if I go to an IEFT fair or event, I'm going to bring some Worcestershire sauce with me so you can all try. It's a spicy sauce that was actually invented in Worcester. And as you can see, it's a beautiful riverside location. It's very peaceful, very calm. very, very easy to get about. So everywhere's within walking distance. So I walk very quickly. When I lived in city centre of Worcester, I would be on our main campus within probably 12 minutes. But even if you walk slowly, everywhere's within 20 minutes. That's good as well, because you spend less money on transport. There's no need to take a bus or a tram in these times as well. I know people are less willing to take public transport because of being an enclosed space. In Worcester, you really can get to everywhere you need just by walking. There's also shopping and nightlife. We're a medium-sized city. The population is roughly 100,000. Students, it's roughly 11,000. So it's really a student city. The students are a big part of the population. So you'll find a lot of things geared towards students, whether that's part-time job opportunities, special student deals, student nights, and cinema tickets, that kind of thing. It's a student city, and that changes the atmosphere. It makes it a very friendly atmosphere. When people do feel comfortable getting the train, we have excellent train links. As I was saying before, we're very close to Birmingham, close to London, close to Oxford, and there's a direct train to all of those places. Also some traditional places like Shakespeare, I'm sure you've all heard of, those, especially those of you interested in arts and humanities, may well have heard of Shakespeare. We're very close to his hometown. There's also a rumour that he was potentially married in Worcester. Certainly his marriage certificate is kept in Worcester Cathedral itself. So we're a city with a lot of history and a lot of culture. This is our city campus, which is our business school. As I said, everything is within 20 minutes walking. So you can see from here on the right-hand side, those two white buildings, those are our city centre accommodation. And on the left-hand side, that's our business school. So if you live in city centre accommodation, you can see how easy it is to just pop into the business school for a tutorial. You're also very, very close to the Hive Library, and also close to the shops and the restaurants and the train station. And this is the ground view of our business school. As a university, as I said, we're very known for teaching quality. We're 6th overall as a university for teaching quality, and 8th for student experience, which is very good to see, because it shows that we're doing the right thing when we do focus on the students, our student-led experience. We've also got one of the best records for graduate employment in the country. Over 97% of our graduates are in work or further study within 6 months, which is 10% above the national average. So obviously that's pretty good. It's really nice to see how successful our students are. Entry requirements. I think I'll just stop and see if there's any questions before I start on the entry requirements, just before I talk too much. Okay. International student ratio. Well, I actually probably need to look at this again. We used to say it was roughly about 1,000 to 10,000 in terms of international students. I know that we've recently, obviously in the international recruitment team, been trying to recruit more. I believe the percentage may have gone up slightly. We do have a sizable international student body, and we certainly do have the support system. We're experienced in looking after international students, so we do have that dedicated support team. We have an international experience team who look after international students. But there's also obviously a sizable UK student body. So that means that you do get a lot of chance to interact with UK students. Oh, thank you very much. I'm glad that you like the campus. I will go back to the presentation so you can see some more pretty pictures of it. Okay, so our entry requirements for Turkey. So I'm sorry if my pronunciation is not that great. I haven't been to Turkey for a while. So undergraduate pass the Devlet Lise Diplomasi or the Lise Bitirme Diplomasi with an overall score of 70%. There's a foundation required of less than 69%. We do have a pathway college. So if you do have if you'd like to apply to study with us, but you do have less than 69%, please do contact me and I'll give you the pathway college details. There's also an English, obviously we need the English language qualification, which for undergraduate is IELTS 6 with no less than 5.5 in any one component. Okay, so for postgraduate, this is past the Lisans Diplomasi with a GPA of 2.2, with a minimum IELTS of 6.5, no less than 5.5 in any component. I know that some of you were interested in the healthcare courses. Some of our courses have slightly different IELTS requirements. So some of the professional courses would have a higher English requirement specifically. For example, I know our nutritional therapy and our physiotherapy course do have higher IELTS requirements. So if you want more details about a specific course, just let me know in the chat and I'll get back to you. In terms of scholarships, I've talked about these a bit. So for example, excuse me, with the postgraduates, if you've got the bachelor degree with a minimum of 2.2 GPA, you would get an automatic £2,000 scholarship. If your GPA is 2.7 or above, then you would get the maximum 3,000 scholarship. This was another video. So I'm sorry, because of the audio, I can't actually show you this video. I will, as soon as we finished and we do some more questions, I will put the 2 videos into the chat box so that hopefully you'll be able to have a look at them. We're not quite sure why the audio isn't working on those ones. And any questions? I know you've been asking questions all the way through. We also do, if you go to our website, so that you can see that there's a link there. If you go to this page, you can also chat to our current students. So sometimes that's obviously a lot better. I mean, I'm quite old, I'm 38 years old. I obviously work in international recruitment, so my job is to market the university. Sometimes you don't want to talk to someone like me, you want to talk to somebody who's actually been a student or actually is a student to get that real experience. It's been quite a few years since I was in study, actually. So we've got this page where you can talk to a wide range of students from a wide range of countries, and they're doing lots of different courses. I'm sorry, I seem to have also picked 2 business courses there. But if you go to that page, you can actually see students on many, many different courses. I'm sure you'd find a student on the course that you're interested in. I'm going to see if there are any more questions. Toefl scores. Okay, I will have to look. We do accept Toefl. We normally do IELTS rather than Toefl. I will have to look those up, I think, and I will just pop them into the chat. Actually, I'll go on our language requirements page and then I'll just pop that in for you. Okay, for some reason it is not copying and pasting. Let me try again. Yeah. So if you go on that page, you can see the different language tests that we accept. Yeah. So we don't often get very many students with Toefl anymore. It's almost always IELTS. But if you have Toefl, please just email me, and I'm very happy to look at your qualification. And the final slide, sorry, it was going to be a longer presentation, but obviously the videos, not having the videos has made it slightly shorter. Stay in touch. So that's me, that's my colleague Sarah, who's also on our team. So we cover the market that includes Turkey. My email, e.omara, Sarah is s.marcelo. And this is our international office email. So we're always happy to answer any questions that you might have about studying with us. Here's also our Facebook page. We also have Instagram, and this is our website, which is dedicated to international students. If you just bear with me, I'm also just going to put into the chat, I'm just going to put the YouTube videos. If I can just find. Unfortunately, I've put an embed code on there, but I'm not quite technical enough to. Okay, I'm just popping our YouTube channel into the chat, if you can see that.
Yep, we can see.
Okay, perfect, perfect. So that I've taken you to the general page actually, because the video I had linked to, one was business and one was about our campus. But if you go on our general YouTube page, you've got videos from students who are doing lots of different courses. So that might be more of interest actually, because I know we've got quite a wide range of students. Okay, scholarships, what are the requirements if you don't have your GPA yet? It would depend what you're studying. If you've got my email on there, I'll put my email in here as well. If you email me your qualifications, I'm happy to have a look and see if you would be eligible. Okay, there's a question about our law courses. Okay, apologies. I think I have a small cameo from a little baby. Would you like to say hello to Turkey, Liam? Like to say hello to people in Turkey? Say hello.
So cute.
Thank you. You can say hello to everyone. Oh, he's gone a bit shy. He's only just woken up. But,
yeah, he's very shy.
he just wanted to see what mummy was doing on the computer. Okay, mummy's just talking to some people in Turkey. Are you going to go back to daddy? Yeah, you say bye-bye. 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 Okay. So yeah, sorry. What I was doing, I was going to send the information about our law courses.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth.
No worries, no worries.
I saw
sorry, I get distracted at the end there.
If you missed it, maybe I missed your explanation. Any Master of Law opportunity and go to England as solicitor?
Yeah, I was just about to look at that is what I was doing. Thank you very much. I was just about to go to our law page and put that into the chat. Yes, I think there are also potentially videos on this page as well. Okay. Yeah. So I wanted to look at, just briefly at our LLM top-up in terms of because it's designed for legal professionals. So I wasn't quite sure in terms of working in the UK afterwards. Let's have a quick look. Yes, I mean, I will have a look at that in more detail in terms of whether you could do the post-study work and potentially work as a solicitor. To be honest, I'm not sure, so I'm going to get back to you on that one. If you email me, I can actually put you in touch with our head of law school and he can explain a bit more about that. No worries.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Elizabeth.
No worries.
There are a few questions. Tab. Can you see the tab? Next to the chat tab.
Oh, I thought I was on this tab. Oh, there's some more.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I somehow missed a couple. Yeah, so can we work in the UK after graduation? Yep. So with the new post-study work visa, obviously, I guess you need to secure a job, but in terms of the post-study work, it does give you a couple of years to gain work experience in the UK after graduation. And the second question, how does the orientation process go? Yeah, so orientation, I'll explain our normal process. Obviously, this year might be a little bit different. There might be some online elements because of the obvious situation. Normally, what we would do, students arrive into the UK. We have a dedicated day for airport pickup. So we go to the airports, we collect the students. So you're met by a friendly student ambassador, like in the picture in the slide that I shared. So you'll be met by those student ambassadors, meet your new students on the bus, go straight to your accommodation, and then we do an international induction. So the international induction is before the regular induction. So you'd meet me there as well. So the international recruitment team normally take part, and we have a dedicated team that help international students. So that team is called the International Experience Team, and they are there for you. So they will give visa advice. I'm actually not qualified to give those visa advice questions. We have 2 visa advisors who are there for you to answer those questions. And we also have several other members of the International Experience Team. Also, before you join, you would be given access to an app, a mobile app. So you have the opportunity before you join to chat to other students who are about to join. You can find students on the same course as you, potentially in the same accommodation as you, that kind of thing. So you can be a bit more familiar with things before you even arrive. But yeah, international induction is a condensed week. So there's a welcome breakfast, there are sports, lots of activities to try and help assimilate international students. There's some of the more practical things, so visas and banks, we give advice about that. Our student ambassadors will show students around Worcester, which, as I said, is quite a small city. I don't know where you're coming from in Turkey. I've only been to Istanbul, Ankara and Izmir, and all of those felt a lot bigger than Worcester. I assume they are. So in Worcester, I think it doesn't take that long for students to actually know their way around. But in that first week, it can seem really disorienting, and we don't want to increase that feeling for you. So we do have student ambassadors taking you on a tour. They'll do your first supermarket shop with you. So it doesn't sort of, that's the international induction week. You've asked if that continues for the first few months. In terms of the first few months, it's more the first week is international induction. There's then Freshers Week, which is for all the students. So you can certainly, we would encourage you to join the UK students when they arrive on those kind of activities as well. I personally think it's really important for students to make friends from the UK when they come to study in the UK. It's a really good opportunity. I mean, for me, myself, when I studied abroad, I studied in China, and I kind of stuck together with UK students for a really, really long time. And I think it increased my feelings of being homesick, of missing home, because I didn't really try to assimilate. I thought I was, because it was all so different, but I actually wasn't really trying. And it wasn't until I'd made really good Chinese friends and I'd kind of started doing things independently that I actually felt at home. So yes, please do join the UK Students Freshers Week. The best way as well is joining the clubs and the societies. If you have a hobby, something that you're interested in, join the basketball club, join the ping pong club, and really get to know your fellow students, and that will make you feel a lot more at home. But if you have a specific problem, so a visa question, or if you have a specific question like that, of course, we're on hand to give that advice throughout your entire time with us. If it's an academic question, then you have an academic tutor, and you also have a personal tutor. So those would be in your schools. So if you're School of Allied Health or School of Nursing or Business School or School of Education, you would be assigned someone with that experience within that school. So yeah, I hope that helps answer your question. Oh, let's have a look. I realise there's been more that Duolingo score. Yes, we do accept Duolingo score. I've put it on the link that I sent above. Let me just find that again. Find the postgraduates. I don't know these off by heart. So Duolingo for undergraduate, we accept 95 to 100, and for postgraduate, we accept 105 to 110. Is there any flexibility for the application deadlines? In terms of UCAS, if you were applying through UCAS, they have their set deadlines. There is clearing, obviously. For non-EU students, we accept direct applications. So there is flexibility. There's no set application deadline as such. What we do need is we need you to apply in time to make all your arrangements to come to the UK to study. So generally speaking, we work backwards. You need to apply for your visa. You need to apply for your visa in time. You need to be in time to attend international induction. So it's just working backwards. So I'd advise, I mean, we're in June now. So I'd advise applying as soon as possible. There's no set deadline if you're not applying by UCAS, but you know, any questions, just let me know. Okay, I feel I've missed another question. Is there? Okay, what are the best schools for a master's degree in law? Is the average important? Well, I know our law school got a very, if you would be eligible for the professional practice, which is for legal professionals, I know our law school got a very, very high national student satisfaction rating. In terms of best schools, the best thing, again, is just to look at a rankings list. Places like National Student Survey is always important because the rankings list, they generally take into account things like research. So, for example, for me, I went to a university that was very, very high ranked in the UK, always in the top 10. And my teachers were researchers. So sometimes I actually didn't feel they taught me very well because they were their kind of area of expertise was research. So I also would look at things like National Student Survey to see how students found the experience, because those things are important as well as the research that your tutor will be outputting. Okay, for computer engineering. So for our computing course, let me have a quick look for computing. Okay. So I think we don't have a specific computer engineering, but it may be the closest that we have is probably the computing one. And these are the course contents at the moment. Oh dear, sorry, I think I'm typing. For some reason it wouldn't paste. Okay, I don't know what's quite happening. I can't actually input. Oh, I think I was doing something completely wrong there. Sorry, I'm inputting into the wrong bit of the chat box. If you just excuse me, I'm going to. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. I've just put the link to our computing courses, and we don't actually have the internships on those courses, but you can see the course content there. Okay, I think I've covered all the questions. Selchun, do you think I've covered all the questions? Don't want to miss anybody. So any more questions from anybody? Oh, thank you for saying hello to my little one. I'm sure he appreciates it. Well, thank you so much for attending. I do a thank you slide. I might as well show you my thank you slide. So again, those are my contacts and Sarah's contacts. And here is my thank you slide. That picture of Worcester was actually made by one of our art students. So, yeah, thank you so much for attending. I hope you have a wonderful day. If you do have any questions or you're interested in applying, just let me know, send me an email.
Okay, thank you so much for this amazing presentation. I hope to see you in Istanbul soon.
Yes, I hope I am able to come back to Turkey. It's a beautiful country. I really enjoyed my trips there.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye-bye. Take care.
Take care.